going to be taken away, you could theoretically Ziggs. You could throw something like that out there if you'd like to. Things are kind of open-ended right now. They will be able to react, though, to whatever is picked up here with a bit of an idea as to what's going to be paired with it.
Could try to play like Misfortune Rel. I mean, you've got a decent amount of setup here in this draft.
Maybe you just slam Lucian or some sort of support with Engage. The Rakan going to be another option there. Now, I mean, the Doran Rumble plus Jarvan angle sounds pretty devastating.
Yeah, I think Jarvan is going to be the jungle pick 1000% here.
That's a lot of percent, Wolf.
Yeah. Like, if they did this draft 10 more times with remakes, he would do it every single time.
Wow. I've only ever really been 100% of anything.
Wow, the Gnar is a volatile matchup, right? We used to say this is the counter pick, but with Electrocute Ambessa and how much proficiency everyone has on the pick, a player like Keen can win this matchup. Is a pretty even matchup now in our minds, I think, across top laners here at the LCK. You know, if you're on Rise
the Jax matchup, it's the same sort of vibe, right?
Yeah.
Where if you feel like you're good enough, or if you are good enough, you can definitely play out that matchup and make it look very, very good. And I imagine Keen is pretty comfortable in the Ambassador and Gnar. There's the Jarvan that you were 1000% positive about. So
they went through 10 iterations of considering it, and in all 10, they
so in like 10 different dimensions, he still picks Jarvan here. That makes some sense. As we have the Lovers Duo for the bottom side of the map, Ruler Enduro on the Xayah Rakan into the Lucian Melio. I don't like it. I think you just kind of get slapped around, but we have seen players really enjoy picking the Xayah into the Lucian lanes. Wow, these are the drafts. I'd kind of forgotten. Very cool thing is that Ruler and Duro are actually using the Samsung Galaxy skins, which sometimes doesn't happen when Ruler decides to load up into a game on Xayah, so I'm glad that that does actually happen here. As let's get onto the Rift. Game number 1. I think they already did the fan chants, so never mind.
There we go.
We couldn't hear the fan chant leader. They didn't have microphones, so that's what confused me. I apologize for game 2. I'll be better.
This is the cool part about being the color commentator is I'm like allowed to just be silent and let it play out, but you have to kind of be like, well, I guess I have to talk.
Guess.
Nothing happens. Otherwise, we could just be silent commentators. That trend never really picked up.
Yeah, it's you know, I feel like you wouldn't have much of a gig for very long. You know, when they realize that you're not actually useful at all.
Well, there are some people who are better silent than others, so it's actually a skill set. Like, for example, I think it's actually not one of your strong points. You talk a lot.
Yeah.
You might actually not be good at it because you'd occasionally continue to talk.
My wife says that a lot. She's like, just shut up, man. All right.
Barrier committed here by Ruler to stop some of that damage from coming out here from Pays, but he ends up having the health advantage slightly here, but I think Pays is happy to get an early barrier at level 1.
And Pays does have Cleanse, so Ruler can actually do this, as Duro actually a bit of an aggressive move there. Throws out the Grand Entrance just to save Ruler some health bar. Does have to sacrifice a lot of his own.
Yeah, it was a pretty nice position there from Duro to stop the pursuit there from Pays and get the punish, but like you said, we'll lose some of his health, but he'll be able to heal it back up. And this matchup is going to continue to be relatively even here. When it hits level 3 for Keria and Pays, they can try to push the advantage a little bit further, but great job by Ruler and Duro so far.
Yep, I feel like this one can be difficult for the Rakan if the Melio is very, very good. The Fire Kick can be very frustrating if you are trying to W forward. But Gen.G right now, I mean, dealing with Pays, especially once he hits level 3, I feel like that's when you get extraordinarily dangerous on the Lucian, once you've got all of your buttons locked in.
Yeah, exactly. That's the next moment for potential pressure.
And you get double the value because of the passive.
Yeah, Doran does not, or sorry, rather Keen does not proc another Electrocute there. He almost was able to. That would have given him an opportunity to be more aggressive. He's doing the World Tour.
Yeah, a little bit of a Justice Punch by. And
all right, they avoid the level 3 entirely, and we'll lose some farm as Ruler buys a Cull, and a plate is damaged here, but nothing crazy in terms of the advantage gained from this.
It is a pretty big lead, though. There are 6 minions here left for Ruler to pick up. He will be able to get all of them, but that will put him a wave behind. Does make some sense, though. I mean, the Xayah Rakan was never going to be in a great position in the lane.
At least they can both recall pretty quick together. Yep, get out of there fast and come back. So it's only really a wave in it here for FaZe, which will likely even up.
And it's Ruler's taking Conqueror as well. That's the first time I've seen that, I'm pretty sure.
It's a brawly comp, you know, with the Galio and the Ambessa coming through. Yeah, you're going to be up in the thick of things, so you don't necessarily need lethal tempo.
Yeah, a little bit more of a battle Xayah.
Yeah.
Which is just a different take. Lethal tempo is just so very good, and most people just do head towards it as Ruler.
Oh, ruined it. The Xayah Rakan recall there, trying to get the back and then just zoom out of there.
Yep. Oh. At least we did get to see Ruler's very silly signature, which I like every single time I see this skin.
Well, you think it's silly?
I mean, it's just all a bit different sizes and strange.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's that was what I was sort of.
There are only two types of pro gamer signatures. There's the one that's trying to look like a professional athlete, which I consider pro gamers to be athletes, but you know what I mean, sports, traditional sports signature. And then there's the one that's basically some form of squigglies or smiley face or making a picture or you know, there's only two types. There is no like third type.
I mean, I think you've covered all the ones that you really need, though.
I guess you could. There's a bit of a branching path for bad handwriting signature, which is vague. Is it trying to be a professional athlete, or is it trying to be silly? We don't know.
I think bad handwriting is just I haven't done the emoji, but I want to. You know?
Yeah.
That's all right. Ruler underneath this turret is now 11 CS behind. FaZe is really rocketing forward. Has a cull for himself as well, and is on the road to cashing that one in even sooner, despite the fact that Ruler picked his one up a little bit earlier on. Canyon finishing off his jungler. Actually, is he on his Gromp again? As we haven't really seen too much of these junglers so far. Just trying to get towards that level 6 as soon as he can. Oner has also been a little bit quiet, but both of them find themselves at exactly the same spot on the Rift. Canyon just going to be taking down his Gromp before he heads over to try and contest for this scuttle that has just spawned on Oner's side of the map. So I don't think the Lee Sin's going to get there.
This is how I like my League of Legends, you know? Old school LCK, a little bit of jokes, a little bit of talk about signatures, a little bit of a pause. You know, even though this is not actually happening in the LCK arena, it is a homestand. It's no early errors, no big mistakes, no like flashes gained because somebody made a whoopsie. It's just classic, clean, slow early game into an early objective. And both teams respecting that. Canyon might go over here for a little bit of a pass on a potential steal. Doesn't have level 6.
Yeah, that is not going to be the steal from Canyon. He's going to have to safeguard his way out. Does do so.
But that's the kind of steal I'm talking about in this style, you know? You go in, you don't even have to use flash. You're Lee Sin, you take a little peek, and you ward hop your way out. Totally fine. That's right on theme with this game here from Canyon.
Absolutely beautiful. Well, T1 going to be able to grab the first Cloud Drake. Next one up is going to be the Ocean. Does mean that we've got access to some pretty good souls so far this game.
Chovy with a small CS lead.
Which is kind of crazy as a Galio.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, Chovy just has a CS lead randomly in a melee versus range matchup. In this matchup, tough to generate that, but he's a whole wave ahead, even though he missed that punch earlier.
Yep. And Chovy has always been very good at farming on the Galio. And having a look at this composition, it's not one of the greatest. Yes, Imperial Mandate will still be very good. The vulnerability applies to everything. But, you know, the Abyssal Mask that you would like to pick up doesn't have quite as much value because you're the only magic damage on the team. Probably still going to get it because of the tanky stats, but it doesn't feel as good.
People think about Xayah as an anti-dive champion a lot of the time. You know, counterpicked into Kai'Sa, counterpicked into Vi, so to speak, not in the direct matchup in the jungle, obviously, but as a response to those types of aggressive comps. But the composition that Gen.G have built here with Ambessa, Galio, Lee Sin, Rakan is actually a dive comp itself. With Xayah having the ability to follow up with feathers and make it really difficult to actually engage onto the Xayah. If she's a little bit far back, right, and the rest of the engage comes through for Gen.G, she just follows up, and then her low range doesn't matter because everybody's in melee range, everybody's brawling.
Yeah, there's not a lot of range on either side, really.
Yeah, so the Xayah in that sense, really works well. And because we haven't seen a massive lead for FaZe, right? He has 300 gold the advantage right now. It is a lead, but it's not like Ruler's out of the game. The Xayah pick doesn't necessarily have downsides outside of the matchup in the lane, which, again, has been effective by FaZe and Keria, but not the end of the world. So see how Ruler does when we get to some skirmishes coming up here, because that's when he's going to be able to get the shine. Yeah. Even in the mid game with this comp, Xayah often you're like, okay, we're going to need to see some items, but with this one, I think there's a lot of setup here for Ruler to find success.
Yeah, I think if he grabs a couple of items, he'll be very, very happy. Obviously, you do want to get towards that Infinity Edge, and that feels the best on 3. But still, I think, Navori and the Essence Reaver should be pretty happy. Is now just facing off against FaZe. And yeah, like you were saying, I think this is like an acceptable amount of behind that he is coming out of the bottom lane laning phase.
FaZe, he generates leads. That's just what he and Keria do. They're one of the most aggressive and most dominant bottom lanes we have. Not only in Korea, but in the world. So you give FaZe Lucian, you walk out 300
Wait,
gold.
someone might die. Okay, Kane's just going to flash, but Oner with the flash follow. That's incredibly slick. Kane does manage to buffer the CC from the ultimate. Keria comes on over, gets himself an assist, and that is Oner that picks up first blood on the Jarvan.
The buffered drag from Oner on the flash play there. I did not expect him to commit because it's pretty hard to pull that one off, but he actually has the angle, has the timing there, gets the punish.
The flash timing from Kane was also like really
good.
Clean, right? Because it felt like, Oner was given as little time as possible to go for it.
If you mess that up by just a fraction of a second and you don't get that, you waste your flash and the play is a wash. Oner pulled it off brilliantly there on the Jarvan, and it is a successful play. It is first blood to him. Now Canyon looking for cross map here on the FaZe. Bit risky to go in on that queue, though, between turrets.
And this is giving Ruler a lot of extra time.
Yeah, that gold lead is gone for FaZe practically here.
So they do manage to punish Kane, but as soon as Oner shows topside, Gen.G feel like they're unleashed on the other side of the map, able to get Ruler sort of a wave back in advantage. Canyon just hitting the Winds of War with his Q is not really the way to do it, as that's also not the way to do it. Ruler having to use his Feather Storm here in trade for the culling.
That might be important if we were going to see a really big, 4v4, for example, on this upcoming Dragon. So keep an eye on that if he is going to commit to that fight. But otherwise, pretty big that he's forced out of the lane in general. Now, when you look at the commitment here, as it's a great play from Oner. Watch this. Flash is perfectly right on top of Keen to get the knock-up. That is very tricky. And again, great timing on the flash for Keen, but it is double flash employed on this play versus just one attempted there by Keen, so that's something to consider as well. Doran now flashless and could be a little bit more vulnerable. Also, Jarvan a little bit less engage range for a potential team fight that we might have on this Dragon. Tough for Gen.G because Ruler can't really get out of the lane to come over for a contest.
Yeah, I do think that if T1 commit too much to this, though, they could lose a lot. There are 3 grubs on Gen.G right now. And so if Doran is teleporting down Keen without his teleport, he will be able to get a lot of work done towards this turret. Is Double Dragon worth it? That is the question.
Faker can't get access right now, so they also have a great ward. It's about to time out to spot his approach.
Yeah, Winds of War come on over. Keria not able to find the fire kick as Faker, I think, going to have to move back towards this wave. Chovy is going to be able to push that one in. And the Dragon is kind of forgotten for the moment. Both teams jockeying for position. Ruler going to be catching this wave, and that might give T1 the tempo in order to be able to go for this. As in goes Oner. Grand Entrance is going to be used by Duro to get himself out of there, as Chovy is going to be the target. Shockwave comes down on top of him to interrupt the heroic entrance, and out he will go.
All right, well, it's an ult for ult there, but the second one is the better one. Faker locks him in place.
That was
and down
such
he goes.
Range ultimate from Chovy.
I think he just, I think maybe realized he's in a really rough spot, likely dead, and just wanted to at least get something. Maybe Faker will ult this, and I will get at least a shockwave cooldown for it. But yeah, he was never really going to be able to get out of that one. And normally, if you're going to commit to a scrap like that, you want to Galio ult in, but he was kind of isolated and alone there. Doran also getting some alone time with his top turret, getting a lot of money. So big win for T1 all around on this play. Now the Double Dragon into Hextech Soul. It's a 1,300 gold lead here. Chovy's CS advantage effectively gone. So
So he will be able to make it back to lane. He'll continue farming things like this. Does have that Abyssal Mask that we were talking about, so that Imperial Mandate will be coming up next. That's when the Galio does get very, very strong. Ruler going for that Battle Zaya vibe. Does have the Steel Caps now completed. Pays and Doran going to be doing a fair bit less. Oner as well. We'll have to watch out for Faker when he gets a few items together. However, let's have a look at this one more time, see whether we can make some sense of it.
The most important part of this fight is what you can't see on your screen right now. It's the Zaya and the Lee Sin that are on turret. It's just a huge miscommunication between the Gen.G members about what's going on here, and Chovy is trying to hold the line here and set something up, but also, the rest of his team was just not even committing at all.
But Keria hadn't pressed any buttons yet, and Faker was there with Shockwave, so you were never going to get that ultimate off.
Yeah.
It's just kind of crazy.
Anyway, I suppose.
Oner is going to be taking a bit of damage here as Duro gets Cataclysm. There's the kickback from Canyon.
They're trying to get this turret here. I mean, Pays and Keria wanted to join, but they can't really get access, so it's going to get a bunch of damage done. Now Doran is the target.
All right. Doran taking a lot of damage here. Quickness comes down. There's the Charm Grand Entrance there as well. Good Q. He's going to connect there from Canyon, and Duro was tanking up the turret.
They should be able to get out too. Pays and Keria coming over.
All right. Q going to land there from Canyon. Remember, doesn't have the kick. Grand Entrance comes down. It's a lot of damage, but onto Canyon first. They focus him down. Keen is here. Oner's flagging and dragging away, and will be able to help lock down the remaining kills here in this fight. Pays tanking up this turret a little bit too much as Keen very low. But this is not all that diveable, even with 3 people.
I know Flash no ult. I don't think he can get a punish here. Pays wants this.
He will have a shield back up again, and he's dashing around, just knocks out Pays. We knew it, we saw it, and they went for it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching this thinking, Keen is ready to punish anything that comes his way, but I think Pays and Keria are just going to walk away, and he's not going to be able to do anything, but Pays greeted for it, so Keen gets a kill. Very wild scenario there on the bottom side. After Pays had such a great flash outplay in the skirmish itself, didn't have it here. Cleanse not required in this defense of the turret shot. Yeah, he got the heals from Keria, and I think thought he had enough health to survive. We'll now see Keen, Doran TP down to try to catch Keen, and Keen...
He's going to try and teleport away, but it's not going to work. He just gets flash nod.
This is
down he will go.
It's a silly set of plays.
Yeah, there's been a fair few things where it's like, aha, they will not be able to cancel this, and then it just gets canceled, and then they die. That one makes a little bit more sense, was out of vision there, and sort of went for it. And the attempted teleport doesn't pay off, but it's worth a shot.
Well, at the end of the day, as the dust settles, even though Pays died for a fairly silly reason, they have so much control. They're pushing the mid turret. This Lucian has 2 items. They have Soul Point coming up here in 90 seconds. I don't think Gen.G are anywhere near a position to contest.
Whoa, 2-man Shockwave does come down here as Ruler pretty late on the Featherstorm. Will eat the damage and then go up into the air, putting that on cooldown. Doran in the bottom lane also grabbing first turret blood.
Yeah, they lose the race for first turret, and T1 are also getting a majority of these plates here. This is a cannon wave. Ruler so low on health, they almost get the mid turret. They will get it very easily if they're able to commit for another wave later on when they're grouped up. And it's 50 seconds until this dragon spawns. Herald is in the hands of Canyon. He got that top side before they tried to get the turret first. They failed. As we're going to go back to this. So Keria gets the campfire up onto Pays, who does not have barrier because he went for the cleanse. And yeah, I mean, Keen is just like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't know how else to explain it, but I just don't think that was realistic.
Had Eclipse, therefore get shield, and VK.
Shield is pretty good. He's like, I have a shield too, but yeah. All right, that was the replay we chose to show. I wanted to see Pays' flash outplay again, but ultimately we'll just have to go watch the VOD for that one. Like I said, T1 have full control over this dragon. The only thing that can disrupt that is a potential combat herald here for Canyon. He's holding it right now. He's got his kick, but no flash. So it is going to be really tricky to deny the soul point to T1 with a 2-item Lucian.
And there's no Featherstorm either. I think it's looking a little bit dire. Soul Point's such a huge deal, though.
It's going to trade it for mid-turret, I guess?
Shelly, yeah, exactly. That's looking like what they want to go for here. As the dragon has now spawned the orb, they do have to be careful about it, as Faker is making sure that it's always in a dangerous position. Will Canyon connect the Q? He does. Not able to steal away the Drake, though. There is a public execution. They get on top of Oner, and there's a heroic end. entrance onto 3 for Chovy, who gets into this backline. Doran able to peel for Pays quite nicely, and down will go the Galio. It is a trade, but Oner for Chovy, I think you'll take it as T1, especially as they get Soul Point at the same time. And now they might even be able to claim more. King gonna have to try and dash away from this, but I don't know whether it's quite going to be enough. Tries to utilize these Raptors, but the relentless pursuing of this Lucian.
And the thought process
to take the kill
here must have been for Gen.G, like, this game is surely lost if we give Soul Point over. They have so much control, they have so much tempo. They got the turret in the mid lane, and that's really helpful for this composition. It's got an Ambassador that's got a Lee Sin, you know, to be able to look for flanks and stuff like that. But this fight was always going to be incredibly risky. Now, steal attempt, that's one thing. I can get behind that. It was incredibly low, 47 here. Canyon has to leave. I want to see the Ambessa ult. Okay, just not quite able to do anything with that because they just don't have any follow-up for Chovy going in. Chovy ends up getting a massive ult, but there's just no damage here. Ruler, like you said, didn't have his ultimate until just now, so cannot offer any damage. It's a 2-item Lucian. I don't know how many times we got to say it, but I think Gen.G just really wanted to throw a spanner into the works. The attempted steal, if you get that and only Canyon dies, or even he gets away, as he actually did in the attempted steal there, then I'm behind it, but actually committing further into the fight is just a bridge too far, I think. Ruler is the only one with a gold lead in this game.
And kind of crazy that it's him with one as well.
The call, I think, is really the main part of that.
I mean, didn't Pays, he cashed in a cull as well, right?
Oh yeah, you're right, actually.
Yeah, so on some cull parity, might have been able to hit that quest a little bit earlier, perhaps, for Ruler. But still, we'll see whether that silver lining is going to work out here, because 1.2 thousand gold is not exactly end of the world. Hextech Soul is, especially when it's on a Lucian. He'll be able to just, electrocute people, and it's just going to not be a whole lot of fun. So T1, in 3 minutes' time, approximately, will be in a very, very good position in this game. There's the Imperial Mandate, though. Some item spikes are starting to come in for Gen.G.
When you have this composition for Gen.G, you know, we talk about range a lot, especially when we talk about Hextech Soul. If you have any form of poke, it becomes so much easier to get value out of the Hextech Soul because you can proc the slow easily. But when you're trying to get into the thick of things with a low-range comp and you're kind of this brawly, relatively immobile, but is very like strong in a phalanx type setup. The initial part of the engage will be mobile, right, with the Ambassador with the Lee Sin, but when you're in that big death ball, if you get slowed, it really hurts your ability to continue to fight. And so Hextech Soul will be so, not strong necessarily for T1's comp, but strong into Gen.G's comp is what is so scary about it, and I think why they wanted to commit so hard to try to deny it. It's only 1,500 gold, the lead here for T1, and again, Ruler has a gold advantage right now and is getting closer to that IE, which is a big spike for him, but T1 hold a lot of the cards right now on the map, which is the bigger issue than the money. So yeah, all it takes is one big fight, and maybe a catch on the Faker.
Let's see. Faker often is caught in sides like this, but often they do get the cross-map plate. Nice two-man Shockwave is going to come in, and there is the Winds of War, so down will go the Orianna. I don't really see too much of an answering play here, though, for T1.
Yeah, they don't have a cross-map this time. There isn't a way to save Faker, and he just dies in sides. And just like that, the gold lead of T1, as small as it was, is halved. And Chovy picks up a second gold lead here for Gen.G.
Yeah, pretty much
shutdown
as well, which is kind of crazy as he does pick up the wave at the same time. We'll just check this one out again.
There's not only no vision here for Faker on the top side of his map to support this side lane play, there's no jungler to shadow him. He is just straight up alone.
Wait,
greedy.
Speaking of a lone wolf, Oner he's
a loner.
He's Owen Wilsoning behind enemy lines. That movie is getting older and older every time I make that reference, and now I imagine there's people who are younger than that movie that are watching here. As, okay, teleport comes in from Doran. The grand entrance will knock him up. Chain CC is decent, but the shockwave is fantastic as well. Public execution does nothing to get Keen out of that one, and Ruler's just going to have to run away. The kick to get Pays out of the fight as there's the flash from Canyon to try and keep him alive. 30 seconds until Hextech Soul and Gen.G are melting at the hands of T1.
Very easy cleanup here for T1. Gen.G now on the back foot. Dragon spawns in 20 seconds. Chovy does not have teleport. Keen will have
entrance,
but like, and yeah, he does, but if T1 just goes straight to the Dragon and do it on spawn here, I mean, they might not even group for it. They could just have Oner solo it while they get more damage on this turret. There isn't a fight. There isn't anywhere to go to join. It is just checkmate on Hextech Soul at 23 minutes into the game. It's going to be around like 23-20 or 23-30. They're going to look for a TP flank here. This is crazy by Gen.G. See, maybe it's just so crazy it could work.
Well, let's see. No Dragon Rage kick. Pei's going to get over here as now Keen just trying to dance on in. It's going to be the Hextech Soul going over to T1. And now Keen not fully committed to that fight, but they will just lose the Soul. And I just feel like we haven't seen Gen.G find the team play that we're used to from this squad, right? This is a composition that can team fight pretty well, but just all game. T1 have had the 5v5 advantage.
They've had the tempo advantage, right? And it's a numbers game that Gen.G are losing. Now, in this case, Doran is the one they commit all their CC to, but he's a Mega. I think they just saw the TP on the ground and they were like, well, we'll blow up whoever is there, but Doran is just too tanky. And the Pei's is like, well, all your buttons are on cooldown. I could just walk towards you. There's a peel attempt from Canyon onto the Lucian. He's not trying to kick the Lucian in and pick him. He's trying to get that Lucian the hell away from his teammates. That Lucian's a problem. We got to get him away. Pei's ends up picking up a kill here on the Chovy. They get the Dragon for free. And this is the most dominant small gold league game we've seen in a while. It's only 2.5K, but it feels like the game is so donezo at this point.
Yeah, it's like we're ahead by almost nothing. However, we have Hextech Soul. We've demanded control of absolutely everything. And you are feeling completely shut out of this game as if it's a 10K gold lead without that actually being the case.
It's been a game of Canyon almost stealing dragons, but not being successful, and T1 winning every fight that Gen.G have otherwise opted into. And now the game is just so difficult to play out with those slows rolling through constantly so early on as well. 3 items for Pei's. That IE is still not done for Ruler.
Yeah. Auto reminder is there as well, so it's going to deny a bunch of the healing here for Gen.G. As T1 still looking to try and siege out this inner turret. And they don't have Baron or anything like that. It has spawned 5 minutes ago. Shockwave comes in onto Chovy, who doesn't seem too bothered about it. He is Galio after all. Still, Faker is going to just push that wave in and now slink back into the fog of war, threatening this purple worm. And Gen.G might actually have to leave their base in order to go and contest it.
Gen.G have all of their ultimates up, and they can still command a really aggressive engage on an attempted Baron. They will go over here and check. And they have to be very cautious about how they do this, but they know there's no Shockwave, so it's pretty easy for them to come over here carefully one by one and clear up this vision. Now trying to look for a turn. I think this is just desperation. It might work. I mean, T1 only have the Scuttle Crab and Vision around the top side of the Baron, but this is a greedy play from Gen.G, but they know they are in a tough spot. If they can get away with it, it could put them back in the game.
Yeah, Faker is able to throw that orb over the wall. They do get the idea as to what's going on here.
5 seconds on that Shockwave.
Yeah, teleport coming in from Chovy, gets into heroic entrance range. There is that Hextech Soul doing a bunch of work, but the culling is not going to find the mark, and the Flag and Drag also goes wide. Fire kick, not hitting too much either. So T1, they will stop the Baron, but they will not punish Gen.G too much for it. As Gen.G are now finding themselves on a pretty awkward part of the map. Now Ruler's getting chased down by Faker. Shockwave gets the Feather Storm.
Big win.
Trade of ultis, but I think you're very happy as T1 to have that layer of safety removed from the Xayah.
They've got so much control over these choke points as well as the slows to play through.
Oh, there's a Gnar onto Keen as well. He's just cataclysmed. Dunked down by Oner, and they should now be able to move over towards this Baron once again. Keen up in 43 seconds. This Baron is going to be long gone.
Yeah, that's just a brilliant play from T1. Faker walks up to 3 people and gets Ruler's ultimate. It looks like a low-value Shockwave if you just watch that small instance, but when you look at the grander picture of the Hextech Soul, the lack of vision for Gen.G, the fact that they have to retreat into these choke points, there's no top turret, it was the Baron securing play. Just ulting and hitting nothing, not getting a Xayah, getting the ultimate, and getting position. And like, T1 hold all the cards in this game. Faker is in in a gold deficit, and has a Blackfire Torch and a Rocket Bell. He's low damage Orianna, but he still made an incredibly impactful play because that's how much control T1 have here. That's why the gold matters so little in terms of how big the number is. It's a lot bigger now that they have the Baron, and this map that they already have controlled is really just, for them, a way to continue to control Prio on a very early Elder, pre-30 minutes here. They're not breaking open the base with this Baron right now, but the Elder was definitely going to be a different story.
Yep. And the thing this is all making me think is, at the beginning of this game, I wanted to give Gen.G the benefit of the doubt, right? What I've been saying, and I even told this to Spawn when TL were going up against T1, I'm like, as long as you like ban Faker's Orianna, like you won't look silly, you know? Because that is the most important thing to do against T1. I thought that Gen.G might have a plan, and as it turns out, they didn't. Keen's gonna get shockwaved here. He went to try and find his ultimate, but Ambessa can't really do that very much anymore, as Canyon's gonna get locked down. There's the kickback onto Oner, but it's only to get them out with relative safety. Justice Punch is a great answer here, but Chovy's response is death, as Paze is gonna lock down that kill, and T1 should be just cruising towards the Nexus here to pick up their first win of this best of 3. Gen.G going for a last-ditch attempt here, but without Chovy, it's so difficult to defend against T1.
A game that only really had that one blemish of Fakers getting picked in the top lane, otherwise just domination here.
Yeah, and Ruler going to be taken down here. Featherstorm not even able to be used. Great chain CC out of T1. They shut Gen.G out of this from minute 1, it felt like. And with one Baron, they'll destroy the Gen.G Nexus and see whether they can pick up their first victory here on